the logic, as I point out in some of my other work, should be actuality implies possibility. And this is where we get into the phenomenology, and that's why we have to place experience first. Look, I mean, if Dave Fravor, under fairly good, in fact, if not excellent observational conditions, says he sees, including other pilots who also had eyes on it, he sees an object, about the size of an F-16 fighter jet, bouncing around like a ping pong ball in a glass jar, as he puts it, and then popping up to him and then disappearing out of view, and then reappearing, on radar at 60 miles out in like a quarter or a third of a second. That is actual. So the question isn't how to explain it away as is impossible, but how to explain it as possible. So the reaction is it can't be, therefore it isn't, but it should be the exact logical contrapositive. It is actual, therefore it must be possible. So then the task as scientists should be to take the actuality and attempt to ground that in some structure of nature that enables the possibility, if not the actuality. You have to look at the larger sociological, I think, and historical context, right? In the 1920s and 10s, it was still possible to think that in our local galaxy there could be intelligent life. Mars, for example, Venus. It was still possible to imagine that. These objects, in many cases, in many famous cases, the Childs, what is that? The 1950s Eastern Airlines case, that Project Grudge, right, and Sign looked at, all the way through to the way it presents in many cases today, like the Dave Fravor Nimitz case, the Japan Airlines case. A lot of these objects, not all of them, but a good and very remarkable subset of all UFO or UAP cases present as structured technological objects with very bizarre characteristics. That, of course, immediately suggests the operation. Of course, a technology is the product of a mind, and that means that we're talking about an intelligence. So in a lot of these cases, the phenomenological presentation suggests first a technological interpretation, just going superficially off of what it looks like. And then beyond that, of course, we only understand technology in relation to a mind. A technology is a designed thing, right? Is an intelligent design. The object was interacting electromagnetically with multiple radar systems. It was also interacting electromagnetically with Dave Fravor and the other pilots' eyeballs. Let's not forget that when I see something, I am physically interacting with that object. I am exchanging photons with that object. Okay, so if I can see it with my eyes, I am receiving a photon that's bouncing off of the object structure, off of the electron surface of that object. It's bouncing back to me. I'm receiving. So, like, we should emphasize that I'm interacting with the object. So it's in my space, right? It's in my shared space. So if it's a material object that's obeying at least minimally the laws of quantum mechanics, right, such that I can see it, it's visible to me and simultaneously to radar. Okay, it's got an electromagnetic signature. It's a material object in any sense of the word material. But then, but then it does 5,000 Gs, according to the phenomenological calculations, by the way, that Peter Reality and the SCU team did. They calculated, like, when it disappeared from, he said, look, guys, I saw it, and then it just, like, when I was trying to engage it, it vanished. I blinked my eye, and it was gone. And what the SCU calculated is it takes about a third of a second for the eye to blink, and then they measured, the visual acuity of Dave Fravor's, like, he's got like 20/20 vision or more.
Right.
By the time that thing is no longer resolvable in his visual acuity range, plus the fact that when you blink, it's about a third of a second. Look, they show that it's about 205,000 miles an hour. I mean, let alone the G forces are just impossible.
Right.
We have data that would suggest, or evidence that would suggest, right, a technological origin. The technology therefore implies a mind or an intelligence that designed it for some unknown purpose that we might be able to infer based on its behavior. But the further question is not only like, what is it that this particular, UAP or this particular object that witnesses describe, what is its purpose? But what we really want to know is, what is the purpose of the intelligence designing it? And also, even more abstractly, I think what we want to understand is, what is the structure of that intelligence in general that produced the intention or the purpose, and then which then crafted this thing, and then that inserted it into our world. For those that appear to be technological, that I think is where the NHI hypothesis is most obvious and most live and most relevant, right? Because again, technology would imply a mind implies some kind of structure of intelligence.